good.
What about physically?
Well, I had an anxiety spike earlier, but I have chilled out.
Oh no.
So, yeah.
I get that. Solidarity there.
But anyway, no. Also, number one, Joe, you're forgetting something.
Oh, let me. I actually had the goddamn thing up. I'm looking for noises. Star Wars is the hardest to fucking do noises on, man.
Tell me about it. But while Joe is searching for noises, who wants to sum up where we are and what's going on?
Oh, we're in such a dramatic place, Z. We're in such a dramatic place.
What is that
So
dramatic place?
basically, well, the dramatic place is called Skip One, and it's a hive of scum and villainy full of ne'er-do-wells, as far as the eye can see. So we showed up. We took a basic look around. We found, if I'm not mistaken, where we think the ship that we were tailing might potentially be, like one of the loading bays where we think maybe it is. If he's wearing a new outfit, that's not actually a new outfit. I think that's important. I would like that as included as part of the official record. um, we wandered around. We had some God, what is it called? The sugar thing. God, those things, those delicious things.
Oh, gulab
Rock
jamun.
candy?
Gulab jamun. Yeah, there we go. I
Yeah.
did not want to say a wrong series of syllables and be extremely racist about it. um, so we had some gulab jamun. Then we went to a cantina to start our search. But you see, stuff happened there because Kane told Kana that he's aware of a bounty on Tia, and does Kana know about this? Kana does not know about this. They plot as they're heading into the cantina. Meanwhile, uh, Tia goes up to get the drinks at the cantina and is informed that she has a bounty on her by the bartender there, which comes as a surprise to her. She goes to sit down, uh, drop off the drinks, and then Kane tells Iffy over the comms, the open fucking comms, that there's a bounty on her head. There's a bounty on Tia's head. Tia then immediately leaves, just as Iffy is finding this out. Uh, Kane and Iffy have a short talk about this. It's very tender and friendship shaped. Then Kane heads off. Kana and Tia have also headed off, where they get stopped by somebody with very large blue hands interrupting their conversation, which has left Iffy alone in violation of the 5-foot rule.
Yes, Kane went to go talk to Vialexa to see what Vialexa could possibly come up with and might do, since she has some connections around here, or theoretically has some connections as a bounty hunter, and said ne'er-do-well that tends to be around Skip One. But as they were left on a cliffhanger last time, we are going to start off with Tia and Kana. And I had a request to rewind 5 minutes so that there could be a very, very short conversation. I will remind you that essentially you guys have gone like at most half a block.
Oh yeah.
You
That's
guys
about
are on the catwalk in between two sides of this large cavern area of Skip One.
have not gone far.
I do want to steal like 2 seconds, if you don't mind, to explain something that like last time I misunderstood that. Now I have like catching up on the notes. I understand my confusion, and like I wanted to explain a little bit of why Kane just called Iffy and was like, "Hey, so here's the lore bomb," because I promise that was not. I did not intend for that to be like a weird metagaming thing. But if I recall correctly, there was a brief moment where Tia saw her own face on a wanted poster.
What?
What?
On
No.
What?
the bounty
No.
board.
No.
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 No, didn't the
At the bar?
yeah, at the bar, the
bar-
bartender showed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah, okay.
it's like
Okay.
a little data pad, but it's not like a bounty board posted up on like the side of the cantina or anything.
Yeah, he pulled it up on his phone.
Yeah,
Is
Well,
how I imagine.
essentially.
that will further explain then my confusion, because I misunderstood that it was on a public bounty board, and I was like, oh shit, everyone can see that.
No,
And that's why I had Kane do what he did.
no. The Jiuk, the bartender of this cantina, um knows Tia vaguely, and so was just kind of warning her. He does not post anything up in his bar because if you all or in the fountain, because if you all remember, it is one of the kind of relatively peaceful places on Skip One, the fountain, and then the card hall, the casino kind of thing underneath it, that are owned and run by two different people. Juke runs the fountain, somebody else runs the card hall underneath. Um, they have been around for so long that that's kind of quote unquote neutral zone. Um, even if stuff starts there, they kick you out to continue it outside, essentially. So there's not a bounty board there. However, everybody on Skip One that would have any interest in bounties would have access to the bounties posted up by the pikes.
Gotcha. I just wanted to refresh, go back to explain that, because Kane acted with a sense of urgency that I realized in hindsight was kind of misplaced.
Not wholly, not completely, because they were sitting in the middle of the most popular tavern cantina on Skip One, with the largest crowd at any of the cantinas on Skip One. And, again, there is no guarantee once you leave the fountain that somebody isn't just going to be waiting outside once they've noticed you at the cantina. So it's not wholly misplaced. It didn't seem that odd to me personally, so you're good.
Yeah, it didn't
Fair.
seem that odd.
No, not that odd. It was more so like a okay, fine, we're doing this kind of thing, rather than a completely out of place thing.
Thank God.
Yeah, but now I see what you thought happened. Is like, oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that was like Kane fucking jumped on it, because he's like, oh, we have to put the fucking kibosh on this quick fast.
But
But
circling back around, Tia and Kana, you are up.
Why is it? It's quiet.
oh fuck, sorry.
Were you just listening to this on your own?
No, I got distracted to I didn't realize that I just hadn't streamed it.
Okay. Iris, are you there?
Yeah. I'm trying
Okay,
to
cool.
remember exactly what I was gonna say last time, but my mind is like blanking right now. Sorry.
We've got limited time here, Iris.
Do you hear the Jeopardy music in the background mentally? Because that's until the end of the song is what you have.
Okay. Oh, so it's good. The song's 2 hours. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, Kana is rushing after Tia. She's not letting her go randomly off by herself.
I'll say it doesn't look random. It looks like she's going in a very specific direction.
Yeah, well, point.
Random to her.
And where exactly are we going now? We should be staying as a group.
I can't exactly stay as a group like this, Connie. I have to pick something up first.
Okay, where are we headed?
You don't have to come with me.
Where are we headed, Tia?
Connie, it'd be better if you stayed with the others.
Kane can take care of the ambassador. I'm not letting you run off on your own after what I just...
What you just...
You know, you could have told me.
You knew?
Yeah, I just found out.
How long have you known?
She kind of looks at her hand, which does not have a watch on it. 10, 15 minutes?
That's very fortunate. I found out approximately 9 minutes ago. Not even, actually.
Wait, you... She moves her pace a bit faster so she's more even with Tia, but kind of gets in closer to a little lower, kind of eyeing the people around, make sure no one can overhear. You didn't know about your own bounty?
Why on earth would I assume they have a bounty on me? I'm not a bounty hunter. I don't take that kind of work.
You don't take that kind of work, but you work from the Pikes?
Shh!
She's whispering this, but yeah.
I know, and I just show like that fucking shushing motion, just like, I am aware that that is a mistake. It's not like I wanted to.
If you... Tia, I don't know what you've learned from Saiska, but I highly doubt she taught you to work with them.
Oh, oh, oh no, she can never find out about this.
Good luck with that.
She's going to kill me after she gives me a lecture on the first, second, and third things she's taught me.
Oh God, is it worse? What did you do? How did this even happen to you?
It's a long story, Connie, but never mind that. We need to get to the store.
Okay. Here, just kind of glances around, pulls off her jacket, tosses it on Tia.
She's gonna catch it and just put it on normally, because putting it over her head would be so fucking sus.
Who gives a shit?
Actually, no, she wouldn't put it on, actually. She'd fucking hand it back over to fucking Kana. Just like, you also need this. If we
We'll
move
be
quickly,
fine.
if we move quickly, we'll be fine. But put your jacket back on.
If we move any faster, we'd be running, and that'd be very suspicious.
We just need to move consistently and not stop. We're almost there, and then I could get to the things, and then we can get back to the group, and hopefully everything will be fine.
And you'll explain everything while we're getting whatever you need to
We're
get.
sort of on a mission, Connie. That comes first.
Yes, but my friend's safety is also very much important.
Later, we might find time to talk about it later, but for now, we need to focus. Alright? Just...
No. We will find time later.
And
for now,
now
uh,
is when the giant blue hand comes in.
Yeah, just
one
one
on
last
each of their shoulders, right?
Yep.
one last comment if I can. One last comment. For now, just stick with someone, okay?
Massive blue hand on the outside shoulder of each of you, as you feel somebody kind of loom over and lean down in between you.
Ooh. Z.
Stiffens.
Z.
Hand on waist.
And you get this. Oh, there ain't no two pretty ladies here.
Elbow.
I mean, yeah.
Tia is
Both.
so fucking on edge.
Okay, let me see here. What's your agility?
I assume
Actually,
not bad.
let's see here. Roll a coordination
Mm-hmm.
4 purple.
Oh, fuck me.
Can Kana try and leg sweep this person?
They're both immediately on the fucking offensive.
Let's resolve Tia first.
I imagine Tia is immediately like, one hand on pistol, other hand immediately elbow. Advantages, at least.
And you want immediately for Kana to try and leg sweep this person.
Get him.
Yeah, leg sweep.
Commit.
Where's my character sheet?
That we'll do with a
Roll leg sweep.
brawl check if you're trying to do
Brawl?
something like that. Yep.
Okay, sure. Why not?
A brawl check versus. Let me look at this character sheet.
So it wouldn't be coordination?
No, because this is a more full attack. What you're
Okay.
trying to do. Oh, okay. That is going to be another 4 purple and 2 black to try that.
I don't have anything for
Isn't your
this.
strength like 1?
It is.
Huh?
Oh,
me-
man.
Let me see if I have anything to add to this real quick.
I don't think you're winning this one, Chief.
I really
Yeah.
don't think you're winning.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
I
worth
do.
spending resources on.
Yeah.
I believe in you, Iris.
I appreciate that, Joe. I really appreciate that.
The only
That
one.
said, you should
Good.
not use resources on this.
Could. Could I add a move to this? So I'm just trying to get this person off balance.
You can try.
Yeah.
If you think that that is immediately what Kana would do.
Yeah, I mean we're kind of in a situation here. Kind of got taken off guard a little.
They're so high strung
Very
at this
fearful of you.
moment.
So how you want me to just roll and then add move or something? Like 2 separate rolls?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the roll.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. And then move.
What is this? There's a button. I'm gonna click this button. I don't know what this does. Oh.
Is this the time to experiment?
It's just like
Uh,
the button of like, here's some ideas for spending the threats that went against. That's
and then I'm not sure how to roll moves.
So you're using a force move, so you're gonna have to
Yeah.
use your force die.
Okay. Where's my force die?
And explain the mental space of Kana as she is reaching for the force in this moment.
It's a lot out of surprise.
It's bad.
It's definitely out of surprise of like, okay, focusing on like, okay, keep people away. Be her friend. So it's just kind of a little bit of instinct of like, when someone jump scares you and you accidentally punch them. I'm sure you understand that, Z.
Z's
Uh,
across
I'll
several
let
haunted
you.
houses in Georgia.
Look, man. I'll let you slide
It's
with
not
the light side alignment for this right now.
okay. I'm trying to find my force tool. Oh, here. I can't click it. I'm just gonna roll it this way because I can't find it. 1. Yay!
Okay. You are successfully able to use that for your move.
Sweet. Yeah, just kind of tip him over. It's not like she's trying to throw him or something.
So as you both kind of spin around, both striking out at whoever is behind you, Tia, you're managed to get just a little bit faster than Kana as you try to elbow, and this person immediately like tucks their stomach in and like takes a half step back, and Kana, you immediately go down into this leg sweep to try and sweep. However, this person jumps, and you see two prehensile feet grab onto either side of this walkway that you are on, out of your range, and as you push, they just kind of slide back a few inches. Well, essentially doing the splits on this catwalk area. And you see a absolutely massive Lasat standing behind you, who is very familiar to both of you, particularly you, Tia, as one of the crew members for the Deleterious Delight, Shaiska's ship. He
I
just
imagine Tia.
kind of holds up both of his hands, and you see his head tilt just a little bit. What the hell has gotten into the two of you?
I imagine Tia was literally in the process of fucking pulling out her blaster when she saw who it was. And her shoulders just kind of slump as she holsters it back, shaking her head. Zavik! What a surprise! Hi there! It's been so long since I've seen you. You really shouldn't do that.
He just kind of looks in your direction and stares for a moment. Yeah, well, I've done that plenty of times before, and you never tried to shoot me. And what are
To
you
be
on?
fair,
He looks at Kana.
Sorry, just a bit on it. We were in the middle of doing something, right? Yeah.
right, we're very, very busy. But you look great. You look as handsome as always, and we really should be going.
And he immediately, as he's stepping down first one foot, then the other to stand properly, and you turn to go, you are picked up by the scruff in a very familiar gesture. He has done this dozens upon dozens of times with you. And you
Seven?
are dangling about a foot into the air.
We've talked about this.
See, I think the talking goes out the window when you try to shoot me first, or are near about trying to shoot me.
I hadn't tried to shoot you, though. I just elbowed you.
Do
Or
you
tried
think
to.
I don't
Yes.
understand what happens when you move your hand to your hip like that? I know where you keep your
Zavik,
guns. What?
Zavik, can you please put her down?
He kind of stares for a second, not putting Tia down. And you can see just
Please?
like the thought process of like, well, I can pick you up too.
Pretty please? With a cherry on top and all of that?
If you want, you can come with us. We're just in a bit of a hurry, that's all.
It's a shopping trip.
A shopping trip that's got y'all jumpy enough that you're attacking anybody that comes up behind you and pats you on the shoulder.
I mean, you could have been trying to grab us.
We are two women on our own. We do have to be
That's
cautious.
bullshit on both of you, and you both know it.
Imagine she tries to fucking twist out of his fucking grip. I imagine it's fucking useless.
Yeah. You don't want to know his brawn stat.
It's a 6. Imagine she puts fucking both of her hands behind her head on his fucking wrist, trying to wiggle. It's like, Savik, I'm not 14 anymore. You have to put me down. I'm an adult now.
Legally, you have to listen to me. Savik, I can vote.
Savik, I'm a full-fledged smuggler now, okay?
This is embarrassing. You ruined my rep, man.
My friend's right here, man. Right in front of my friend. They can all see
Savik,
me.
Savik,
There
what
are
if
That's
girls
the
your
watching.
point.
girlfriend is watching?
As he
Savik, no.
the more you struggle, you feel the grip just tighten a little bit, but seeing how freaked out both of you are, he continues to hold you up in the air, almost like he's trying to prove a point. He starts walking and instead just puts his hand behind Kana's head, right on the scruff of her shirt, kind of guiding her forward, but not picking her up yet. Now, I think there's gonna be some explanation needed here because both of you are way too jumpy for me not having heard a whole bunch of blasters going off recently. So I know you guys haven't been in a fight within the past couple hours to be running nowhere.
Well, if you keep making a scene, there might be some blasters going off soon.
Connie,
I'm trying to help here.
Savik, here is the issue. You see, there is a sale going on across into that store over there that we're going to. If you want to join us, you can. But we are in a bit of a hurry. You see, the sale is very, very good, and, well, we thought maybe there might be some people trying to get ahead of us.
You should know better than to get between a woman and her clothes.
And her shoes.
And accessories.
Not to mention the handbags that they have on sale there.
You can just see the jaw starting to go side to side.
Like,
Do you want a
I
handbag as
can
well?
tell you how he knows he's lying because Kana's with it.
It's like, did you want to join us? We could get you a handbag as well. We could all get matching ones. They might have nail polish that would look very good on you, actually. You should join us.
He brings you a little closer to you. Again, still walking. Just very calmly, very casually. He looks you in the eyes. How long have we known each other?
A rather long time.
He was on the ship when you got on the ship.
Yeah, so almost a fucking decade, huh?
Uh-huh. You want to try again?
Can you please put me down first?
And he slowly puts you down, but he still keeps a hand on your shoulder.
Imagine Tia fixes herself a little bit because her clothes got rumpled, being picked up by the fucking scruff. She's 24, goddammit.
Still
Fixes her
looks like a
hat.
bratty 14-year-old.
It's this fucker? Everyone looks like a bratty 14-year-old. But she probably like puts her hat a little lower than she would usually wear it. We do need to keep moving. It's important.
He's not stopped walking this entire time.
Mm-hmm. We'll continue walking. And you should probably stay silent for like a good 10 seconds or so. I imagine that she's kind of just like playing with like a little like twirly bit on her holster as they're walking. I imagine he's like Kana and Tia are on either side of him. He's got like a hand on both of them.
Essentially, yes. He is not
Yeah,
letting
okay.
you guys run off.
Kana's gonna glance at Tia's gonna glance at Kana.
Kana,
Kana is
you know Zavik. He has been on Shiska's crew the entire time that Shiska has come and gone from Lissy's compound. He is not always there. He takes his own assignments and makes his own money as separate from the crew. But largely he's been the, if you wanted to compare him, the fun uncle. You've seen him like
okay.
yeet little Padawans into like beds and shit. So he's generally funny and not super serious. However, he is also, you've seen like Tia get in trouble and Shiesty like, okay, back to the ship, and Tia try to run away, and him just like carry her ass back with her like clawing his arm before.
I need to check something really, really quick. I think it's in the resources. And it's not in the resources. Where is it?
What would you like to know?
I'd like to know what languages Tia and Kana know.
It's
It
in
was
the
a
one
chart.
They both know basic. They both know Huttese. They both know.
He
They both
probably
know
knows that.
Maryalan. They both kind of know Rhodese. Tia knows it better than Kana does, and that's it.
Okay, fine. Fine. I think Mary Ellen will work here, hopefully.
Does
Great.
Zavik know Maryalan?
I'm not
Tia
telling
would
you.
know that. Tia wouldn't know that.
Tia would know that.
You've not heard him speak in a whole bunch of other languages. At least not very often. He for certain knows Rhodian and Huttese.
Yeah.
As they are kind of smuggler languages. He seems to be more the type that understands languages rather than speaks them. Honestly, how often has Tio talked to Maryalan on the ship? In a decade.
Not often, actually. I feel like if she stubbed her toe, she would have sworn Maryalan.
So he would know some basic stuff, probably picked up from her, but is not fluent in it.
Okay.
Well, Kana will say in Mary Ellen, would you rather have him know? Shiska. So I think having someone on our side would be good.
You do realize that if he does know, he will track me to Shiska. But you do have a point.
I mean,
and I do feel a little bad if I lie to him. At least a little bit.
Oh, you'd feel bad lying to him, huh?
He can pick me up.
Just kind of smirks at that. I mean, I could if I tried.
You would never.
Yeah, anyways, at least...
She might.
At least if you tell him, it won't go straight to Shiesta. You'll have a little bit of time to prepare your funeral.
Right.
Hot.
Oh, thank you.
Hot.
Oh, hot. Hot. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
Mm.
I have food. My bad.
Nice. Nice. Tia lets out like a little like hollow laugh. She's like, just enough time. Send out the invitations. Oh, this is going to be painful. And she's going to clear her throat. And I'm assuming he's just fucking staring at them as they're fucking speaking.
He is looking at, like, watching this conversation back and forth, very unamused.
Right? Well, Zavik, there is a bit of a situation happening that I was very recently informed of. Very recently, actually.
Uh-huh.
Kana kind of snorts a little bit, like, how did that happen? But doesn't comment.
So, I have been rather busy, and since the last time you saw me, I've been working a lot and have done a bunch of different projects, which I could tell you about later. We really should catch up later. I haven't seen you in forever.
You're doing that thing again, Tia.
Talking, I do that a lot.
No, word vomiting when you don't want to talk.
The that I there is a chance that I may have what's the phrase bitten off a bit more than I could chew.
Uh-huh. Bitten off more you than you can chew by, like, eating some bad fruit on a weird planet, or pissing off a captain, or you ain't been over on their side of the galaxy recently, have you?
Not exactly. But that's separate. So I might be in a bit of trouble. It's very small, really. It's not that big of a deal.
I think I can
Yeah.
figure out how much trouble that is.
I did not realize it was this big of an issue. I thought it was relatively minor. But apparently they are a lot more upset than I thought they were. I have
You have.
there is a there's a lot that we need to do. No,
He looks towards Kana. She has.
A bounty on her head.
He looks back at her, at Tia, and there is, like, this, like, very, for Zavik, a very carefully kept kind of straight face for a moment. And you can see the, like, mental updating line in his eyes almost as he is processing this. Just staring at you, Tia.
I've Zavik is fuck all tall, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And Tia's pretty tall herself. But I feel like in this moment she just feels so small as he stares at her. And she just tries to keep her eyes forward where they're going, where she's walking.
A bounty. For what? From whom?
Does Tia look like she's not going to say it?
It looks like she's struggling. Kana and Zavik would both know Tia is deathly allergic to telling the truth.
Yep.
It's a struggle.
Zavik
Hana
would wait just a couple seconds to like give Tia the opportunity, and then he looks very expectantly at Kana.
Bounty from the pipe.
And
Quite a mess she's in, huh?
as soon as you say the pikes, both of you, his hand's still on your shoulders, you feel just the very slight twitch of tightening muscles as his head just kind of ducks instinctively for a second. Though he goes back to a relatively normal posture a moment later. You just see that instinctive, like, oh shit type of gesture.
Mm-hmm.
This is like telling your dad that you crashed his Mustang into the billionaire CEO's car.
That was John
He's like-
Wick's dog?
Oh, dude, and he's like trying to assess the damage, and he's doing that thing where he's got hands on hips, like, okay, all right, that's another thing on the list. Well, how bad is it? Keep going.
And you see him kind of like lift his chin. He stopped looking at the two of you. He's looking ahead for a moment. And again, you see where it had gone away for a moment when he asked his next question. The mental upload bar starting. And Tia, you feel after a second one finger just like start to lift and tap on your shoulder in this very, he's not trying to get your attention or anything. It's a gesture you would recognize as like, okay, that's Zavik putting puzzle pieces together or trying to figure something out. He just has that habit of one single finger tapping.
Mm-hmm. I feel like she'd find comfort in that.
And you see him kind of jaw go side to side for a moment. You guys have exited from this very long catwalk across the chasm at the center of this main cavern into one of the rounds on the side that allows you to walk by other places for food and shopping. And he kind of, without even needing to be told or guided, kind of tucks y'all closer to the wall. And it goes from hands on shoulders to like make sure that the youngins don't run away, to a little bit more calm, just kind of arm around either shoulder, both of you tucked under an arm. You realize how deep the pile of shit is that you just stepped in.
I am well aware of that.
Did you kill one of them?
No, I hadn't.
So it's
What
one
did you
thing
do?
then.
She sighs. I owe them quite a bit.
So they're gonna take it out of your hide.
Most likely.
He just nods. You need to get off this rock real fast.
I can't exactly do that.
And he arches a brow. You see the start of a question, And his mouth closes, and he looks towards Kana. And I'm assuming you're the reason why.
She is, actually.
She just gives the that smile when it's like not guilty, but it's like uh-huh.
We're doing very important work.
Technically, you don't need to be here though.
What do you mean?
This isn't your mission.
No, but I do have a contract. I have been hired. I agreed to help you all with this.
Okay, but I'm sure you can lay low for a little bit, at least while we're here. We don't have to put you at risk.
Well, that's why we're taking a little bit of a walk to a store. I'm going to get a new bottle of hair dye, and I'm going to swap my hat.
There's just a slow head turn towards Tia. And he blinks. Hair dye and a hat. That's your grand plan to avoid the pikes.
That's it.
Not just a literal hat. I'm going to be swapping hats.
Multiple hats.
I think
Not just one
that
hat, guys.
I think that Lozena would be here actually. This seems more her area than the others.
And the hand
Yeah.
comes off of Kana's shoulder and just a pinch at the bridge of the nose. What were you saying, Iris?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that'll help.
It's better than nothing, and it's the only option I have.
It's not the only option, though.
It is the only option that I have.
Yeah, kind of like we're kind of off to a side a little bit, right? Towards a store or something,
Yeah, he's
right?
continued to walk. He's letting kind of Tia guide to the shop that she is wanting to go to, but he is keeping y'all kind of like tucked closer to the walls rather than in like immediately in amongst the crowd of people walking.
Mm. Yeah, so Kana will kind of shift and like move closer to Tia, kind of pull her to the side a bit, and be like, and kind of put a hand on her shoulder, like, you care about the ambassador, right?
Tia doesn't say anything.
Well, let's go on the assumption that you do. You being here puts her at risk. Once we get off this rock, it won't be as dangerous. It won't be as. There won't be as many unsavory people to find you.
Connie,
And just, if you could just lie low for a couple days, we can get this over with quick.
And what if I'm needed? What if you're all doing the mission, doing work that is so important, and you find trouble? And I could have helped if I was there. I can't not be there, Connie. What if something happens to you again? What if something happens to Iffy or Kane by Alexa? What if something happens and if I was there, I could have stopped it. I could have saved you. I can't just leave you. wasn't there on Moncal.
What? Kana, her face kind of hardens a little bit. Whatever help you could bring to the group is far outweighed by the danger you bring to us right now. Tia.
I don't want to leave, Connie. For once, I don't want to leave.
Zavik just kind of
Are
clears
you
his throat. Maybe this is a discussion best had elsewhere rather than on the side of one of the main walkways.
You're absolutely right.
right?
We really should get to that store. I do need to pick up some hair dye before we get back to the others. We can't have them waiting too long.
And he nods and kind of pulls you away, Kana, so that he is again kind of arms draped over both of your shoulders, one to either side.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you realize using his size to kind of shield a little bit doesn't offer a whole lot of protection, as seeing a large armed Lasat is a distraction that draws attention, but hopefully more people are looking at him than at either of you.
It was good.
And he continues walking. Oh, I was just planning on staying on my ship, but I know someplace that has a room for rent that, at the very least, I know is not going to tell nobody about who's there. How about you get that hair dye of yours? Then I'll take both y'all to somewhere a little less likely to be stumbled on.
But we can't take too long. We have to get back to the others.
You can let them know. Or I can catch up with them if you prefer that.
That would probably be best.
Others? Lucy ain't here, is she?
No. We're working with a Hapen ambassador and her crew.
Well, shit. Would have liked to have a nice little army of Jedi if we're going to be dealing with the Pikes here, but well, we'll figure out something.
Right. Connie, you said you found out just not that long ago, right?
Correct.
When you catch up with the others or you call them, you need to make sure that if he does not find out. It's very important, Connie.
The awkward giggle is in character.
It was not in character, but the face drop of
Are
oh
you
shit.
sure it wasn't?
That sounded so much like some bullshit that Kano did.
Yeah, that sounded in character to me.
About that.
Um. Oh no. Tana's not gonna fucking hide it. Fuck it. No. Her face just dropped. It's like, is there a particular reason why?
Connie, have you met Iffy?
Yes. I don't know her well, but I think getting used to her antics.
Are you familiar with how impulsive she is? How she doesn't think more than a few hours in advance? At least when there's a lot of pressure built up and things are very tense. For example, the hostage, she almost shot him.
A hostage?
Did wait, did Kana know that? I can't remember if that was
Kana
Kana
did
was
not know that.
unconscious.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What?
You were
Same time,
there.
Zavok's like, hostage?
But Connie,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
you were there. You were
I
unconscious.
well, you guys almost shot.
I did
Why
not
the
do
hell
that.
are the two of you taking hostages?
So I think there's a very good explanation
Yeah,
for it. However,
that's not the
first
point
of
right now.
all, she didn't shoot him, and that's because I shot the gun out of her hand, so a crisis was averted.
This,
What the fuck are you two up to?
It's gal things.
That's a beautiful line. That's a beautiful line.
However, I just wanted an example of how impulsive she can be. So it's very important she does not find out about this. At least until I can tell her.
well, about that.
What?
Pretty sure she already knows. But it's fine. She's with Kane and Vialexa. I'm sure they'll stop her from doing anything impulsive.
Dun, dun, dun.
Smash cut to Iffy
Cutscene.
doing something impulsive.
We will hard
I imagine
return.
Tia's face is just like frozen in like a what
Narrator
expression.
voice. He could not, in fact, stop her.
In fact, he left her alone.
Hard right turn to a table where Kane is sliding into the booth. Half out of breath, stressed out looking. Vialexa has kicked back and was enjoying the
Totally.
show. And there is not an Iffy.
Damn, you look like shit.
There's not a single Iffy. Kane's not worried about it for some fucking reason at this point in time because he's got an idea. And he slides into the booth. And what was it, Alexa?
It's like, damn, you look like shit. Popcorn? I imagine she
What?
somehow acquired like one of those large trays of popcorn with like different flavors.
He doesn't even have a chance to respond to "you look like shit" before you offer popcorn, and he just goes, "No, thank you, but no. I need a favor. You're the the internet hacking expert. You're also a bounty hunter, which I am only just now putting together. Can you suppress the bounty?"
Nope. Takes a bit of caramel, like choops it. You're asking me to hack to the like the galaxy-wide bounty hunter database. I'm a great hacker. I that. You want to
You
suppress
say,
the bounty? There's only one way to do that.
okay, can you, well, suppress the bounty in the other way? You haven't gone after it yet, so I assume your interests don't align with it.
Look,
Could
you want to
you
suppress the bounty? To silence the pairs. Simple as that.
Kane like drums his fingers on the table, and you can see him legitimately think about that for a second, and goes, "Don't. I don't think that is as easily done as it is said, but it might have to remain on the table as a possible option. Possible.
Actually, wouldn't be that hard. Me and you can get it done.
Really?
Well, think about it. Pike Syndicate's here, which means that they're busy doing stuff. So believe it or not, they're actually rather spread out. All it would take for me is to get some word out, maybe some camera footage. The guy find a place where the issue is alone, and do your little. And she makes like a thrusting motion with her hand.
He blinks, and he goes to like say something, and then just kind of scraps the thought and just goes, if we were to pursue this as an avenue, how quickly could we get it done? We're on a very high profile kind of place, meandering around and talking with a lot of high profile people, or at least near where a bunch of high profile people are trafficking. And if nothing else, there are bounty hunters, like yourself, meandering about.
How
It's not
fast can you
safe.
get? I will need help getting into the system. My side, but that's pretty quickly.
Kane looks a little nervous. How could I help?
There's also a third option, but it's one that you're alone.
He's kind of squints for a second. What's the third option?
Well, there's a guaranteed way to have your mark be exactly where we want them to be, whenever we want them to be.
And that is?
You ever gone fishing?
He blinks and kind of tilts his head to the side. I'm not sure I follow.
Well, I love going to Moncal for fishing. Okay, the best way to catch fish is to give them the bait that they want.
You're not suggesting we use Tia as bait for an exchange, are you?
I'm saying that could say, oh, we have a Tia captain placed here and here, ready for exchange. Come and get them. And then, well, we would put them. We would put the what is it? The drop off somewhere where we could predict their routes. Hit them on route. Bam, bam. Wouldn't even have to get to
And
you.
he ponders this, like puts both elbows on the table and kind of interlaces his fingers and really thinks about it for a second. The options are very, very slim. Killing two is how big of a gamble is it to kill two of the Pike Syndicate? That big, huh?
Matching bounties is what I'm
Don't
hearing.
answer that. Don't answer that.
So I will say, just to like clear things up in case there's some confusion, the like leaders of the Pike Syndicate are not here. It
Oh, okay.
is
Oh yeah.
other people that are members of the syndicate. Perhaps there might be some that are a little higher up, but the actual syndicate members, the actual like, Pikes themselves are not here. Otherwise this would be a
Okay.
Pike Syndicate shadow fort. And it is not.
I assume
Who
that
issued the bounty itself?
Mm-hmm.
The syndicate. It is like the Hut cartel has issued a bounty.
Hmm.
Well, option 4, we give them something that they really, really want in exchange for it.
Do you have that kind of leverage, or know about that kind of leverage?
No, we're hunting that coverage.
Kane steeples his fingers and kind of drums them against the mirroring finger and says, "That we are. I suppose we could try to leverage it as collateral before handing anything over. But if we leverage it as collateral, then we run into the problem of, well, we're using it."
Mm-hmm. There's no rules that say that they get to keep it. Just hit them again.
Kane, like, he's starting to get a little antsy about it because there's a lot of there, or not a lot of, but there's a lot of factors in play, and this is like one of several things that culminates in a big decision, like to execute a plan. And Kane is not known for his ability to handle pressure well. So
Popcorn? She will again offer you popcorn.
he will unconsciously take like 3 popcorns.
Good.
You just pop them into his mouth, and he's just like, "So, so, wait, Iffy," and he turns to where Iffy he imagined was just sitting, and Iffy's just not there. And then he looks to his other side, and then he looks over at Vialexa on either side of Vialexa and sees no Iffy. Where is Iffy?
Oh, she went off on her own. Didn't follow you here.
He whips around in his chair. Is Iffy even in the building?
No. There is not a tall Hapen woman in sight.
She'll be fine. She's not the Maka. You know it as well as I do.
He turns around and sits very patiently for a moment. Goes, "I'm going to go find Iffy. Not because she's not the Mark, but because she's going to be scheming."
Yeah, fair enough. I'll see what I can do about tracking down the shipment time. I'm not in the mood for drama. Well, I mean, I love the drama, but I don't need to participate in it. Put some of the popcorn in her mouth, and she like opens up a laptop.
Kane, like, opens his mouth to say something, and then just closes his mouth. And then he'll take another fistful of popcorn and just stand up and speed walk towards the exit, trying not to look too obvious. All the while, it was just like, "Where'd she go? Where'd 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 she go?"
Violet said, like, just like here, like, "Hey, Iffy, where are you? You got a very angry Allen searching for you."
Which one? Question mark.
Which one?
Which one?
We will
The male.
pause it there. So I'm just double checking that I am understanding this correctly, this end of this part of the conversation. I've ended up with Kane heading out to find Iffy, and what was Vialexa trying to do? Look for the people they actually came for?
The shipment. Yeah.
Okay.
The actual job.
Yeah. So you would have to pull out your data pad and start kind of seeing if. So the issue here is that it is a shadow port, so the maintenance of logs of like who's coming, where and when and how and what they have is scattered at best at times. But that will be what you can manage to get with a data pad from inside the fountain, is trying to see what you can find from that. Otherwise, you'd have to go somewhere else and do a little bit more legwork, just so that you are aware, Piper.
Yeah, I'll start there.
Okay.
Greatest place to start the NA as NA.
So we will circle back around to that in a moment.
Yeah.
Z continues to juggle the balls that are now split into 4. Just waiting for Kana and Tina to split up.
I was so sure that we weren't gonna split the party when we came here. I was so sure.
I am trying so hard to get Tia back to the fucking party.
So, we are turning the lens to the last person that we have not heard from tonight. Viffy, who very briskly moved away from Kane as he made his beeline towards the table that she was at, towards Vialexa. And you managed to get out of the fountain without any issues. And this is probably the first time, aside from like your private floor on the ship, that Iffy has been alone. A very long time. Where are you headed?
Iffy is a woman who acts very decisively. Now, some might call that impulsiveness. Some might. I won't name any names. But once she's decided what it is she wants to do, she tends to walk straight toward it. And she's been in, crisis situations before. It's important to have that kind of decisiveness. And this certainly qualifies as a small crisis for her because she's fallen out of ambassador mode and immediately back into fixer mode and scheming mode. This is an iffy she has not had to be in some time, at least not explicitly. But the plan is already starting to form in her head, and she knows what she's got to do, and she's walking very quickly. She's trying to find a shop.
Okay. Let me see here. So, tell me a bit about this type of shop that you were looking for.
She's looking for a shop of mild ill repute, but not total ill repute. The sort of place where you don't necessarily ask questions about where things come from, but there's legitimate merchandise in there too. She is particularly looking for anything that specializes in electronics.
So it is relatively easy. Let me see here. Which one do I want to shift to? Yes, this one. It is relatively easy to maneuver your way away from the gambling areas and the cantinas towards more of the shopping areas. And you would know that the further out you get from kind of the entry level where the fountain is, where the card hall is, either the higher up you go or the lower you go, and the further into the rock you go, the shadier and shadier it gets, or the more and more it gets to the people that just live on Skip One. Not the spacers, not the smugglers that are here to drop off for trade or fuel up, but the people that own and run everything here. In your looking for someplace that is kind of in between as far as the types of shadiness and black market goods you might find, you end up kind of spiraling your way down a few floors. Not too far away, but enough to where the crowds start to thin just a little bit. Because you only come to these shops in this area if you know what you're looking for. And then you usually go back someplace that you're more likely to get cheap, good booze and entertainment. You find kind of tucked into the corner where the inner walkways meet a tunnel that goes into the back part of Skip 1, deeper into the rock itself. A little electronics store that you've never bought anything from, but you have this vague memory of stopping there on one of the very few trips you've had to Skip 1. And looking at some of the items that they had on sale. And just like last time, you see kind of behind the counter of this shop from the doorway a heavy-set Nikto man that seems to not even really be paying anything, like you attention or anybody outside any attention. It's just kind of scratching at one of the horns on his face as he is reading something on his datapad.
Ify will, for once, not actually announce herself or anything as she's walking into this shop. She knows well enough not to look like he's looking for one thing in particular, because then that makes her look desperate, and she would never want to look as desperate as she is. But she's definitely taking her time, perusing, trying to see if she can find one thing in particular, one that I don't imagine she's ever had herself, but something that she's well aware exists. I feel like it's the sort of thing that gets a lot of use on apes.
So you kind of start flipping through and browsing around. You feel the moment when the Nikto kind of like realizes that you're there. So you feel the weight of a gaze on your back. And he doesn't say anything. He just starts watching, making sure that you are actually not trying to sneak anything. And as you kind of poke around, you see roughly the same things you remember from last time. Or at least the same genre of items. Of seeing one or two very small blasters, kind of janky in all honesty, not particularly useful, not particularly good. Seeing a couple of item attachments and upgrades that can be used for armor or weapons. You see things like spikes for your armor and a GPS kind of tracking system. Very short range, but it has its uses. You even see, kind of tucked behind the counter in glass cases on the wall to make sure that the stickier fingers of Skip 1 are not going to walk away with anything. You even see a couple of enviro suits and environmental gear. Even to your surprise, something that you didn't think that this place would manage to have. But check this one. Roll me a, let's see here. Double check this. Roll me a knowledge, either knowledge underworld or knowledge warfare.
Or warfare?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, I got fucking disruptor rifles in here. Let's see. Difficulty 3?
Yes.
Alright, let's give it a go. You know what? That's fine. That's fine.
You see some sort of body glove that looks kind of out of place, and you imagine this had to be fresh off of some snatched cargo hold that was just kind of pawned off on Skip One, or near enough to Skip One that it has made its way here. You don't fully recognize what it is as far as what it's capable of, but you recognize the logo that you see kind of displayed where kind of a breast pocket might be. And you know, it's something that allows for dispersal of energy.
Interesting.
And as you continue perusing, you also come across a few other interesting little items. Some tracker vests, some padded armors of various sizes, a cascader under a glass showcase closer to where the Nikto is seated. As you wander your way around, you eventually come face to face with the owner of this shop. Having started, I assume, on the outside edge and kind of perused your way closer.
Yeah, she's following the designated retail route. With the fucking, the groceries immediately when you come in, then you get hit with the bakery and all that. She scooped some things up along the way, though. I imagine that she's grabbed one of the shitty GPS units, and even though she takes some time to look at the suit, she doesn't scoop it up quite yet. She does, however, look at the cascader and just doesn't say anything, but there's certainly a light in her eye when she sees it and a small sense of relief.
As you make your way towards this kind of primary shopping counter where he keeps his money, and he has very clearly set himself up, even though he is up on a stool to kind of be over the top of this counter. You can see that there's like a little shelf that's hidden behind the counter where there's various data pads and data discs and even a couple of little tiny handheld type games. So you know this is where he spends his time and has set himself up to while away the hours. And as you come to stand in front of him, he just kind of tilts his head. What's a pretty lady like you doing all the way down here?
Do you ask all the pretty ladies that come in about that?
And you can see just a little smirk, but he doesn't respond.
That's what I thought, Iffy says. She points to him in a somewhat smug but good-natured gesture. As she's trying to play down exactly how, tense she feels at the moment. But this is something that she's fallen into more than once, this routine, and she knows it like the back of her hand. Yeah, it's a pretty good shop you got here, though. I mean, it is nicer than the last time I was here. You got some upgrades, didn't you?
And you can see as soon as you say that, the mental Rolodex is being swiped through very, very quickly, as he is desperately trying to remember who you might be and if he had interaction with you that might affect this interaction right now. And he straightens up just a little bit, and you see that Rolodex still going in the back of his head. Oh, sometimes you get lucky with who wants to part with their goods. And you get to sell a few interesting items.
And some days you get lucky with who's buying what, don't you?
Well, usually I would say whoever's buying something that they want from my shop they're the ones having the lucky day.
Iffy smirks, taps a finger on the glass. How much for the Cascada?
And he kind of looks down, and you can see him. There's a pause. He slowly just kind of reaches behind the counter and starts unlocking it, pulling it out so that you can see it a little bit better. Though it is, as soon as it comes out of the counter, it is on his side of the counter. He is well versed in the sticky fingers that come on Skip One. Oh, this is a little bit harder to come by, as I'm sure you're aware. And he kind of like turning it, flipping it one way and then the other so that you can see all sides, and it looks, for the most part, like it is in one piece. Maybe a little old, a generation or two old. But it doesn't look like it is damaged in any way. Well, I'd say right around 2,000.
Iffy will study it for a moment, then looks up to him, goes, "Come on, buddy. 2,000? It's a couple generations old. You're talking to a Hateman. These things, the cluster is littered with them. Now, I could go and get one, but it would take me forever to do that. I'd like to pick this one up, but not if you're going to charge me an arm and a leg."
And there's a little smirk. Well, if you're needing to get this, it's a couple generations old, and not head back to the cluster where there are so many for you to choose from. I'm assuming that means you need it.
It's a smirk from Iffy. Might be that I do, but let me think here. And this is also Kira thinking. um, trying to figure out. Let's see. What about okay. If he puts the shitty GPS by it, then looks around, picks up one of the shitty blasters. Now, these two here, you're not going to get a good price for them. You and I both know that. They're not really worth much on their own, right? You just kind of have them here to have them. Bait for any of the shoplifters that come around. You always got to have something out that they take and that you don't really care about. So, how's about I take these off your hands here and the Cascada for the 2,000?
And you can see him like narrow his eyes a little bit. You are going to have to roll an opposed negotiation here, my friend.
That's perfectly fine.
Grade.
Opposed negotiation. All right. Well, let's see what the roll is first.
So this is going to be. Let me check his stat book. Where is your negotiation, sir? Why is it there? Just like, normally Normally, stat sheets, like, everything is, like, alphabetical order. For some reason, this one is spawning negotiation underneath survival.
What
It's alphabetical on mine.
the fuck?
I'm not using it on, this is a separate website. For some
Oh,
reason, it is...
it's very strange.
Why is negotiation? Okay. Anyway, this is going to be 2 purple, 1 red.
Mm-hmm. 2 purple, 1 red. Okay. Mm, all
Use-
right. Yeah, I'll use it. I'll use it. If you guys are all right with that, I will use a light side point.
We got that ammo. I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I will upgrade.
And it's
And
trying to, I think, were you saying she's trying to get, what was she trying to throw in with the Cascader for 2000?
the shitty GPS and one of the shitty pistols.
Okay. Thank you.
Here we go. Are you fucking kidding me with this?
Bro,
Bro, what the fuck is
Wow.
that? What is
Wow.
that?
I'm cringing out of my mind, Iffy.
That is an abject
How?
That is the worst she has ever rolled on that. 6 failures? Are you kidding me?
So you, like, throw in these other 2 items. He just kind of, like, tilts his head and will kind of pick up the blaster and look at it, like, look at her over, and then look over the GPS unit. You see, this one by itself, he just kind of taps the GPS. It is worth, no matter how old it is, how small the range might be. In the right hands, it can be used
Oh my
very well.
god.
Shut up, Joe. You're not in the scene.
Sorry.
Hands, it can be used very, very effectively. It's already worth nearly 200 credits by itself. That's not to mention the blaster, which maybe not worth as much. But you're trying to add nearly a quarter of the price. It just kind of sets both items back down on the table again. If this is a little too rich for your blood, I'm sure there's some other things I can interest you in. Perhaps if you are prone to blasters, I do have some scopes that are actually relatively new. Just got them in 2 weeks ago.
Iffy. The smirk dies from Iffy's face and instead is left something far harder. Um, there's a very hawkish look that comes over her as she puts her own hand on the counter and just slides the credit chip over. 2,300 for the Cascader, the blaster, and the GPS unit. And she just looks straight at him. You do a lot of business around here, don't you?
And there's the kind of almost oily smile that takes over his face as he takes the credit chip and kind of looks it over. It doesn't ring it up yet. Oh, you could say that. Get used to figuring out what people need. He leans over the counter, almost into your space a little bit. And I'm figuring you are in trouble.
Why is it that men always think that about women who are on their own? That we're in trouble?
And you just hear the very audible tap, tap, tap on the cascader under his hand.
Iffy will. She slid the credit chip over. So she will move her hand over toward the cascader as well. Not to snatch it, but just to. Ownership is being transferred at the moment. Looks at him in the eye. If I were you, I wouldn't go making those assumptions. There's a lot of uses for Cascada, and I'm sorry that you can't think of any that aren't just being in trouble, but believe me, I can.
He starts passing you the items one by one as you have motioned for them. Gives you the GPS and the blaster, and he picks up the cascader and holds it in the air, not offering it quite yet. Tilts his head, and that kind of oily smile is still there. I think I have something you might want to hear about if you are indeed in trouble.
There's a pause. Her jaw works as she thinks for a moment. Well, I'm not in trouble, but let's say I know a couple people who are. What is it you're offering?
He places the cascader in her hand. Have you ever heard of a reflect body glove?
I'm guessing that's like putting two and two together. That's the thing on the wall, right?
Yes.
I could have Iffy try and lie.
She's got to be good at lying, right?
She's got 2 ranks in deception. She's got 2 yellows and a green, so she's not bad at it. Iffy looks over to the thing on the wall and goes, "Oh, that over there?"
He nods. If you're concerned enough to be getting a cascader and a blaster in one go, assuming you would like to be a little bit safer. And he stands up and moves around behind the counters to where that glove has been folded up and tucked away in its glass case. And he very carefully pulls out a separate set of keys to unlock it and pick it up and show it off. And you see it is made out of very, very thin white and silver material. And the way that it moves, it almost seems like it would be made out of sheer material for how it just kind of falls into its full shape. It is a full kind of bodysuit that would go from knees to neck. Delicate thing, but it serves its purpose. Get a shot from, well, just about anything that's gonna be throwing energy your way. Makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Above table, do you know what a reflect body glove is, Kira?
I know exactly what a reflect body glove is. See,
You also know it is expensive.
I do know it's expensive. If he needs her credits for the later parts of this, I think. Yeah, I think that's where I am on it. I think it's really fucking cool, right? And I do kind of want it. I do. But I feel like Iffy has somewhat already. She feels as if she's been insulted by this man, even though she's been read, is what happened. And she knows she needs to conserve credits for later. So I think I'm not going to pick it up here, but I do think it's really cool.
I rolled the
Just-
random shit in the shop, and that was one of the things that came up.
It's so sick. It's so sick. I want it later. Why did you have to come here now? It's like Body Club. Wrong time.
So, for everybody else in the server who don't know what a reflect body glove is, it's
Please.
a suit that essentially disperses energy weapon blasts. However, each blast takes down damages the suit. So mechanically, it increases your soak by 3. And every time you get hit, that soak increase goes down by 1. However, you can try to repair the suit. Has no benefits to your defense. It's extremely lightweight. And because it is a body glove, it is very, very hard for anybody to know that you are wearing it if you are wearing it underneath other clothing. There's 2 setback die added to any check to try and notice the body glove.
It would be really good for Iffy, who has 0
It would be
coverage.
so good. It would be so good. I know it would be. But I need my credits.
Does it come in white?
I did say it was in white.
Oh.
I'm getting
totally
peer
fucking missed
pressured. I'm getting peer pressured.
It is white and silver. Essentially, it
Oh.
looks like a very, very thin, almost like, like the white t-shirts that are like so thin that like it's kind of see-through. That type of like level of like material, like that thinness, that lightness of material in a white with almost a silvery hexagon pattern over the top of all of it, where the energy dispersal is coming from.
It's in white.
You know you'll get the money back, Iffy. Either by your passive or you're gonna win big in gambling again. We both know you're gonna get it.
Honestly, gambling some money back up is not out of the question.
So get it. There you go.
All right.
Free money.
If he looks at this thing now, she doesn't know how much it is. If he will just narrow her eyes a little. And how much are those going for over here?
And he smiles. Well, this just came in not too long ago, and items of this quality, and this type even, are hard to come by outside of certain very high level military.
I get you. I wasn't born yesterday. You can give me the number.
And the smile returns. This will be. Let me double check this. No, come back here. Load. This will run you about 2650.
Narrow of the eyes again, the gears turning in her head. And she slides over the credits without an additional word.
He takes the credit chips, just kind of looks them over, doubles checks that they are indeed real, and then will very carefully, almost like he had proper shop training somewhere, very carefully, neatly folds the body glove up and places it in a bag and hands it over to you.
Iffy is so unused to carrying her own things that I'm not sure if she has a purse. Like, I feel like she might occasionally leave the house with one as like a statement piece, but I feel like she's just so used to being able to shove something into Kane's hands that she might actually be a little bit at a loss here. But she will accept these items. She will tuck the cascader into the pocket of this jacket. She can hide that away at least. And she will take the body glove and just put the blaster on her hip. Tucks away the GPS container too. Looks back up at him. Any other day, it'd be a pleasure doing business with you.
And there's a kind of a brow arch. Well, I think you walked out of here a little bit better for it anyway. Hope to see you in the future, miss.
Iffy is already tucking the things away. And as she turns, she starts leaving, looks over her shoulder. Tanala.
Motherfucker.
So you managed to leave the shop, new goods in hand, many credits later, but coming out with even more than you necessarily went in there to get. And you, I'm assuming, start making your way someplace private to make use of your items.
That's exactly the plan.
All right.
And as she does so, she turns off her data pad.
Mother.
We will.
And the comlink.
Yep. We will shift the camera once again back to our first pair. Kata and Tia. Tia, you have managed to guide Zavik and Kana towards the shop that you were originally planning on going into. It's run by, it's a relatively standard, more clothing and armor shop. Run by a couple of Rhodians that they always seem to jack up their prices a little bit, but everything in there has always been relative quality when you have had to go in there in the past. And tell me what you are looking for, Tia. As Zavik stands kind of awkwardly near the front entrance, because the man near about only wears like cargo pants and a vest at best.
Well, she is going to pick up hair dye, and I imagine that's the goal. Ow! Fuck off. Dog.
Fine,
That
okay.
hurts. Who knew? Digging your claw into my arm hurts. Ow! Fuck! Stop it! Oh my god. Okay. I have dog now in my lap. He
Hi,
won't.
sailor.
Oh. Say hi, Saley.
Hi, sailor.
Okay. Chill. Thank you.
Hmm.
All right. So, she's on a mission for hair dye, first of all. And probably just black shirt. Just instead of a pink throwover shirt, she's going for a black one. Very, very simple. Maybe a new hat that's black as well.
So you kind of go through the shop. You see there's a section that has just some basic clothes, basic like Under Armour type stuff, where you know that there's going to be shirts and everything like that at the very least. You also see a couple of padded armors of various kinds that have been hung up and displayed. You even see something. Roll me again a knowledge underworld or a knowledge warfare.
It's gonna be a knowledge underworld. What's the the
3.
DC? 3 purples?
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah, you see a couple of like things you realize are like crash sheets, but you know those are going to be really expensive, and some attachments for armor that you kind of just habitually just kind of like scan over in your perusing, and you don't recognize all of them at first glance. You do see, interestingly, a threat monitor, which is something you realize in the back of your mind, that would be useful in most other situations. Uh, Essentially, threat monitors give you an automatic advantage on initiative checks, as they essentially work like a car alarm for your immediate vicinity when they're attached to your armor. But you do manage to find yourself some hair dye and a baggy black shirt. There's nothing that quite fits you right, but it's black and it is not stained. It is not messed up. You're pretty sure it's new. Pretty sure. You hope. Do the sniff test as you try it on. It's like, well, that smells like at least it's been laundered.
At some point. Maybe, I don't know. Black. Spare fucking dye that she can rub on her shirt or some shit. As well.
Kana wandering around the shop too, or is she also awkwardly standing in the doorway?
Why do I imagine that, like, Tia found out that if he knows in this moment? Iris, are you there?
We are not hearing you, Iris, though I see that you have unmuted.
Iris.
Hello?
There we
Hello.
There we
go.
go.
There you are.
Okay,
Welcome
sorry
back.
about that. I was saying, oh, so you were saying that that's when Tia finds out, or?
I was saying I feel like this would be a good, because I don't think she'd go to the store after finding out that if he knows.
Ah, okay. Then, yeah, that's fine. She's sticking with Tia, and she'll, I guess, let her know, like, about that.
I imagine what Connor told her, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember it last scene. Reassured that Kane
I'm
was there.
pretty sure the ambassador already knows.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm pretty sure the ambassador knows.
Did she know before we got here?
She found out when we entered the room, is my guess.
The moment you entered the room, the canteen. You're talking about the
Mm-hmm.
fountain.
Mm-hmm. When we left, she was told.
Connie, are you
Yes.
saying that she found out about the situation when I left the table? When I was walking away?
I'd assume so, yes.
I want you to hold all of these.
Kane feels a disturbance in the force.
Where are you going?
Just reaching for a fucking data pad, fucking comm links and shit.
I'm going underneath the bus where you threw Kane.
She didn't say who told her.
You didn't have to.
No.
I'm gonna fucking hand Kana the fucking basket of shit. I imagine there's also a fucking lollipop in there too that she just impulse picked up. She's gonna fucking call Iffy.
As soon
There's
as
no
you,
answer.
yeah, as soon as you call, try to push through first a message on the data pad. You see it sending, but there is no read, and then you try the comm links, and there isn't even a click.
Connie, I think I might be forgetting something. When we left the cantina, Kane said he would stay with Iffy, correct? That he had it handled.
I don't remember the exact wording out of character here. But I know, didn't Kana say stick with her?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Kana saying stick with him, or stick with her.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was
okay.
Kana.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I told him we were heading out to keep an eye on her.
She's gonna
You
call
didn't
Kane.
really give me much of a chance to fully discuss the plan. Wasn't to let you out of my sight.
She's calling Kane.
Kane, by this point you have made it out of the fountain, and I imagine you end up like halfway on the catwalk across the cavern that's immediately outside of the fountain at the very least. And you're kind of scanning, which it's hard to do because instinctively you start looking for a tall woman in all white, and then you remember, nope, she's not even in all white this time.
Yeah, it's not easy to spot her because I'm not looking for like the fucking lighthouse amongst people. I'm trying to find a tall Tia 2.
As you're scanning the crowd, kind of leaning over, perhaps a little precariously so, leaning over one of the railings, squinting at the walkways spiral up and down. You get
Passively grunting to himself, just like, where did she go?
you get the noise of the comms connecting and Tia coming through.
Tia?
Hi there, Kane.
You're safe, right? This isn't like an emergency call.
Kane, where's Iffy?
Shh. That immediately tells Kane that if he is not with her, are you with Connor?
Of course I am.
pinches the bridge of his nose.
Answer
And
the question. I did ask you one.
I
I'm sorry. Could
He's
you
just gonna
please hang
disconnect
up
the
for me?
comms.
Call him back.
Nope, just hang up. he's gonna he's gonna like, nope, just let it ring. Fuck it. And he's speed walking now, just like iffy.
Tia, as just fucking lets it ring. She gives up after the third ring. It's like she turns to Kana. I thought that he was supposed to be a bodyguard.
He is?
Really?
What?
Because from what I can gather, he has no idea where Iffy is.
How? They were literally at the fountain together.
That is a very good question. I think we should be asking him, and we need to go now. Give me the bag.
Here. Kana's gonna try the comm links.
Is Kane ignoring
Kane,
all calls?
He's not gonna ignore all calls. He will answer Kana's call.
Because I swear to God, she will do a different type of phone call. She has that ability.
Good fucking luck blocking that one.
But
Just
she's being
mentally,
polite here.
we're sorry. The force cannot be depleted.
So Kane will answer the call from Kana, and he's not gonna say like, "Oh, hello, Kana." You know, he's just gonna like, yes.
What happened?
Just I'm working on it. If you happen to see anyone who dresses like Iffy, or if you happen to see anyone who's dressed like Tia and happens to be well over 6 feet tall, just pull them aside. As of right now, I'm working on it. I don't know where she went.
Kana will let Tia like go to the checkout, like where she's going, and will kind of stay closer to the door. So she isn't causing more issues here, because she realizes how Tia is getting hyped up here. Where did you last see her? When
Wait,
did
sorry,
you last see? Where did you
when?
last see her? And then when did you last see her?
Last I saw her, she was in the cantina at the table, and as I was walking towards the table to meet up with her, I crossed paths with her. I said I needed to talk to Vialexa, and she walked away. I didn't think she was walking out of the cantina. Now I have no idea where she went.
So, oh boy, she is doing something stupid, isn't she?
I don't know. I don't know if she is or if she's just in that planning stage where she has an idea and wants to chase it down.
I don't know the ambassador very well, not compared to you. But from what I've heard, she's quite impulsive.
She can be. But she's also methodical. She's not going to do something completely brash and with no forethought to it. The issue is that she thinks very quickly. He rubs his head. Like he's standing probably like in a different catwalk on a different level somewhere nearby where he was, just like rubbing his forehead. Like, God, she is impulsive. She's also very well thought and methodical, which is really frustrating because she thinks of this stuff very quickly.
Has there ever been a moment where she was more impulsive than normal? Particularly when more emotionally invested in something.
Thanks
How
for a
bad?
minute. you can give me a spot check on this, Kira, but I'm thinking Kane has probably experienced not been in this situation with Iffy before, but maybe a similar high octane emotional situation. At which
Oh,
point,
go on.
I was gonna say, like, at which point there was some kind of similar, like, kerfuffle of Iffy having some rapid fire cockamamie scheme that she puts together and executes very quickly. Um, and I imagine that if the previous one was probably like maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10, and this one, like, how would you rate it compared to like a somewhere in the middle, like upper middle?
Yeah, I would say this absolutely has happened before. We can always, if you want to invent details about it, feel free. But that would be like a 5 or a 6. Kane knows that he's put together that she's pretty close to Tia. I feel like he knows this is like a 8 to 9 on the alarm scale, because there has to be a reason that don't leave Iffy alone is a universal rule.
Yeah, so he's like rubbing his head thinking about it and just kind of running the imaginary numbers for a minute, and he just goes, "It's I can't prove it, but I know that there's something going on. There's a lot of emotions involved. I would hazard this as being one of the worst times. Maybe not the worst of the worst, but it's not good. She's liable to come up with some very, very bold strategy. It might work, to her credit, but it might also be a ludicrous idea."
Kana has one of her hands on her face. You can hear the hand on her forehead, rubbing her temples.
The sigh that Kana just exhaled travels across the fucking station they are on and hits Kane in the face, and his head goes back a little bit, like, oh.
Effie mentioned she'd been here before, right?
Yes.
You know any places she frequents here, or any contacts you may have?
Well, I know a few of her favorite spots to visit. I'm not sure if that gets us anywhere, though.
Any people?
I know where she might.
So you would
Hmm?
know some of her favorite kind of
Hmm.
cantinas and gambling spots. One or two of the places that she swears are better for shopping. Though Kane would also be like, yeah, you're saying they're better because they have the biggest, like, stash of bullshit. Doesn't mean they're not extra scummy like most of the shop owners here.
Hmm.
Um, you would also know, kind of a short list of, like, if she absolutely had to talk to somebody or get information from somebody or need something, these would be the people that she would try first. Again, usually as a very last resort, but, like, one of the bartenders that she likes, of a information broker that she is willing to deal with, of a kind of a back alley surgeon type dude that, if she absolutely had to do something because she got hurt and nobody was able to, like, really help her, she would go to him. So you have a short list of absolute emergencies for Kira, or for Iffy. Does that sound right, Kira?
Hey, well, hold on a second.
No, that's correct.
Hmm.
I would probably add that a lot of the cantinas Iffy likes to go to are probably just because she likes the women there.
Hmm. They have like either the best lounge singer or the prettiest dancers or like the nicest waitress or something like that.
Kane is going to rattle off names like, you know, O'Malley's, Triple X, the Jackalope, whatever. Like just whatever names of places that he knows they have been before, or that he knows if he has been to before, or has mentioned that are on station here, and he is going to like best guess. Because I'm also assuming that at this point he would have tried to call Iffy as well and kind of gotten nowhere with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
nowhere.
So he's like kind of rubbing his head, and he's just like, I have a vague idea of maybe where she might be. It depends on what part of what plan she comes up with she executes first. Usually there are items, pieces, components to a scheme that are the go-to. It's the building blocks of whatever type of plan she has. Usually starts with the physical good, and then the goods are assembled into a craft, and then that turns into a larger part of a scheme. So, a place where she could literally acquire a thing that is necessary, but that doesn't narrow it down. There's plenty of places around here to buy things. It's just a matter of what she needs.
Hmm. And I'm sure there's plenty of places to get things discreetly here.
He runs a hand through his hair and he just goes, I mean, what do you do if your associate was just posted on a bounty board? You found out. You obviously can't turn them in for bounty. Obviously can't deal with the people who are looking for them, or at least who are posting the bounty. Can you? I mean, I assume
Hmm.
she would go to me before that.
The options that I see would be try to hide the person, try to get rid of the bounty, or avoid the area.
Well, how do you get rid of a bounty aside from return it? A bounty doesn't just disappear. You either have to work a deal with the person who's posting the bounty, which I could see Iffy doing, though I don't know how she would go about it, or there would be something wrong with the person who the bounty was put on.
He's, you said she was wanted alive, right?
DM?
Yes.
He nods and then realizes you can't fucking see him do that. And he just goes, yes.
Is Iffy crazy enough to try and talk to the Pikes themselves?
Don't know. And I know she doesn't. She has a good amount of credits on hand, but not enough to pay the bounty. Not that they would want it paid anyway, not the Pikes. But is she crazy enough to talk to the Pikes without me? No. Not without me, right? He seems a little self-doubting for a second there, but he's otherwise pretty confident.
I hate to say this, but if she wanted you around, you'd be there right now.
He gets a little sad at that, and then starts to think. Like, if you could see the expression on his face change, you would see him go from, like, somewhat dejected and hurt to a little curious. And then he stands up straighter and just goes, "Why would she want to avoid me?" No, like, as in, what scheme needs her to be away from me? Or you, or anyone for that matter. She's not with you, she's not with Vialexa, she's not with me. She's alone.
Let me try something. I'll let's see let's try some of these contacts, maybe some of these shops she's been at. See if anyone's seen her. I need a moment to be alone. I'll contact you again soon. Okay?
He nods, again, not realizing she can't see him, and then he just goes, right.
Oh, and by the way, I'm trying to get the name again. Characters, NPCs. Zavek's here.
Does Kane know Zavix?
You have never met Zavik, but you have heard Kana talk about Zavik as a member of Shaiska's crew.
It takes Kane a second, but he blinks and goes, Zavik. Is that the tall one? The one who worked with Shaiska?
Yeah.
What is he doing here?
Not sure, but he's helping us out right now. I think.
Like you
Kind of
have,
looks to Zavik.
yeah, you've been like standing there and like Zavik's been like not even trying to hide that he is listening to the one half of the conversation that he is getting.
Respect.
And he as like soon as like you say like Zavik's here, he leans closer and waits until you're done talking, and then you just hear this very faint, very muffled, as he says, not yells, but just loud enough that you hear the very faint, "Hi there," coming across the comms.
Huh. Well, do what you're going to do, and let me know what you find out. I'm going to think about this more. There's something going on here that's it's just barely out of reach.
Got it. Please don't turn off your comms.
I'm not turning them off. I really don't know what to tell Tia right now. If you could talk to your friend and assuage her worries, that would be nice.
Kana, speaking of Tia, you see Tia starting to head your direction. You have about 10 seconds.
I'll do what I can. Click.
Good.
And as Tia has joins back up with Kana, you saw her talking to somebody. You like started like fucking high stepping and trying to get there faster, as she has turned, no longer talking to somebody. As you make it to her, and Zavik still just kind of like leaned in this doorway, is staring at Kana, looks at you, Tia, looks back at Kana. And the pile of shit y'all just stepped in just fell into the bottom of a pit, didn't it?
That depends. Connie, who are you talking to?
No one important. We need to get that hair dye
I
taken
forgot
care of.
it. Just need to
Yes,
apply it.
Zavik
exactly.
takes
And
the
I need
hint
somewhere quiet.
and arms around y'all's shoulders again, starts heading you deeper into skip one.
Oh, Connie, could you do me a favor?
Hmm.
She's gonna lean in close. Next time that you speak to Kane, tell him that if anything happens to Iffy, I'd like to talk with him.
Nope.
Trust me, I think we'll both want to have a talk with him.
Great. Sounds like a plan. Now,
Oh.
let's get this hair dye applied, and then we have to go find.
We have to go meet up with the ambassador.
We have to find her.
And you guys go down a level or two. Frzavik veers you off into one of the tunnels. And the tunnels get scarcer and scarcer as far as the people around you. And all you see, you don't even see shops anymore, you just see metal doors with signs over them. Some motion detecting that slide open as you walk past, some remaining closed. And you reach a corner, you see a large metal doorway that has been marked. The sign that simply reads, "Rooms for rent." And Zavik just kind of holds up a finger, positions y'all in the corner, and steps through the doorway. You see, for a brief moment, this like counter on the other side with a fairly elderly looking Twi'lek woman. Who seems to kind of like perk up a little bit and smile as the door opens and somebody steps in, and you hear Zavik before the doors slide closed. And he's in there for just a few moments, long enough that you get the sense he has done the requisite small talk for somebody that he knows, and has purchased a room before he steps back out and leads you across the hall, scanning a card that he has acquired, and leading you into a very narrow, very kind of uncomfortably built, roughly hewn hallway with another series of doors that you realize is essentially like a small motel. And he takes you towards one of the rooms about halfway down the hall. And again swipes the card. And the metal door opens. And inside is just a very plain, very simple room. Two small, thin, like twin bed-sized beds positioned on either side of the room, and another doorway that you assume leads into a bath area of some sort. There's a relatively shitty little LED screen that is stretched across one of the walls that you could turn on to simulate having a window, though this one turns on as you enter into the room, and you can see that one side of it seems to have been broken and is kind of flickering a little bit, so it ruins the entire attempt at making it pleasant. But it seems clean and, well, relatively soundproof and secure, if not small and old. He just kind of gestures into the room, steps in behind the both of you. Well, I figure both of you probably need someplace out of any prying eyes. This'll do for now.
Thank you, Zavek. Really appreciate it. Kana
And
will move to one of the beds.
he nods and kind of like just casually goes around poking around the room, like opening the doors and the drawers and stuff, just double checking. And kind of glances over his shoulder at Tia. And you're gonna want to speed run that hair dye of yours.
Did you want to help me, like old times? promise I won't spill it on you. Jen?
There's an immediate grimace
You've
before you
only
say
been
that.
for 2 weeks.
He don't look good on blue.
Right, but it's a different color this time.
He just sighs. Fine, fine, but if you stain any of my fur, I'm going to draw a mustache on you with it.
That might help, actually.
He just rolls his eyes and follows you into the bathroom.
Mm.
Kana.
Donna, as they move to the bathroom, is going to sit on the bed furthest away from the bathroom. Sit crisscross applesauce. And she's gonna try to meditate a bit, calm herself, get into focus, and use 4C.
Explain to me how she calms herself and where she is mentally as she is trying to reach the force for something she thinks theoretically that she can do, though she's never really been properly trained in it.
So she isn't. So how she's feeling now, she's not as hyped up and like jittery as she was earlier with Tia. She kind of calms herself in the fact that Tia's going to be safer, at least a bit more, and focuses on more of the on the this is a safe place, being more grounded, I guess. Focusing on the more the positive, essentially. And then she focuses more on her conversation with Kane and tries to mentally tie herself to, okay, if I were Ambassador Iffiton IFL, and this was a place that I have been multiple times, where would I go? And she tries to kind of focus and put herself in Iffy shoes, is kind of her thought process.
Okay.
She tries to use a bit of like the sounds that are around her to get her into this mental state more.
She manages to calm her mind, and she feels the force moving through the air around her. She can sense it kind of faintly from the bathroom, sense it even faintly from just the sheer number of people that are moving around the shadow port. Roll your force die.
And this is not something I could use a light side point for, correct?
No.
Got it.
So you were in a light side position. You can use the dark side to
Do
commit
it.
this die. However, you suffer a strain, and for each black pip that you use, you have to flip a light side point.
Hey, I think this is kind of important.
It seems important. I mean, I don't know how important it is to you, but
It's just a little bit important. Muy poquito.
Hold on. Let me get a soundboard thing.
Do it.
Oh my god.
yep, yep.
Do I have permission from the party?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Given.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
I do it. I take the one string.
So you feel the force, and it's there, and it's comforting at first. Because you know how to meditate, you know how to feel it, you know how to channel it even, but as you kind of reach out, pull it in, feel it filling yourself up, there's a moment where you're kind of at a loss on how to point it in the direction you want, to get what you want out of it. This isn't channeling it to be faster or stronger or to try and shift something outward, where in those cases it is a tool in some way. It is something you can physically see your hand extending and pushing. You can feel it rushing through your muscles to push you faster, to push you harder. This is taking it and trying to hold on to it while you ask it to do something for you. Ask it to show you something. And at first you can kind of feel it gathering, and you hold it and it starts to slip through your fingers, but you're determined to make it do what you need it to do in this moment. You pull it back and try to gather more of it and keep it closer, like bundling a giant blanket in front of you and trying to hold all of it at once. And it keeps trying to slip through. There's too much, and it's not holding in the way that you need it to hold. It's not showing you what you need to show, but you just squeeze even tighter. And eventually you feel just a thread of energy. The same little tingle that's in the back of your mind when you're around Iffy. That is uniquely the ambassador. And you rush to grab at it, trying to pull and trying to see where it leads. And as you reach for this little shining bit of the force and yank, you get flashes before your eyes suddenly. You see the ambassador leaning over Tia in the cockpit of the Dawn, smiling in a way you have not seen her smile at anyone else. And Tia, perhaps a little nervously, perhaps a little something else, smiling back. And you see a flash of the moment where you and Kane were entering the fountain, and you see, as if kind of standing away and blocking out all of the other people, you see Iffy's turning away from Vialexa, staring at Tia's back as you are entering, and you see the expression on her face of her finding out about the bounty. You see a flash of her walking through a catwalk. Then you see seemingly something that, well, it makes you a little uncomfortable. You see Tia and Iffy cuddled up together on a couch in the ambassador's room, talking. And then suddenly you're in the fountain again and you see Effie talking to Kane in that brief moment that they talked in the middle of the crowd. And hear their words back and forth in the moment where Kane turns very clearly on his face, a plan forming, and turns to head towards the table as if he turns away from him and starts heading towards the door. You see, suddenly, a dark hallway of some sort, and you start to feel it slipping from you, that thin thread of the force that is showing you almost in this rapid fire pattern, so fast and so jarringly sudden as it swaps from view to view. You feel it starting to escape your grasp. What does Kana do in that moment as the force is starting to try and get away from her?
I don't know if this would make sense, but if it's trying to get away from her, I guess she's trying to move towards it, I guess. Rather than trying to pull it towards her, she's trying to move with it.
Mm-hmm.
She
So
knows she's supposed to more go with the flow of things.
start to
No, just
try and
grab the force by the balls.
move with the force as it is trying to move away from you, and you feel other sparks that are familiar. You feel the spark first, perhaps the one most familiar with of Cain, then of Tia, of others that you don't quite know, but they seem familiar. There's Vialexa, and there's... Oh, you think that might be somebody you met on Coruscant. And you continue trying to follow this thread of the Force that is pulling you along. You see a flash of Iffy on Coruscant. In a all-white outfit, standing next to a not elderly, but older woman, wearing black and gold. And to her other side stands another tall, almost rivaling Iffy tall, blonde woman, also wearing what you recognize as Coruscant high fashion. They seem to be talking, though you can see the strain on Iffy's face. You see a moment suddenly of Tia and Iffy, and you can't see what's around them, but they seem to be talking. They both seem to be stressed, upset. And then just as soon as it comes, it's gone, and then the dark hallway is back. You see a figure down at the end. And then you recognize the silhouette of Tia in front of you. You try to move closer, see what's happening, see what's in front of her, and as you move closer, Tia is shot by the figure at the end of the hallway. A blaster bolt going right into the middle of her chest as she falls back. Into you. And the shock of it is so sudden that you lose grip on that thread and you start kind of lashing out, trying to find something to grip onto again. Roll me a discipline. 3 purple, 1 red.
Okay.
Dark
Deep
side,
breaths, Kana.
dark
Deep
side,
breaths,
dark
Kana.
side, dark side.
Discipline. Sorry, purple, 1 red. E.
Dark side, dark side.
So you kind of lash out, trying to like grab onto that thread of the force again or anything else to ground you. I am going to ask for some input here. Let's see here.
Is the audience gonna vote?
Audience vote. Does
Audience
Joker
vote.
beat Kada to death with a crowbar?
No.
Freedom of participation? Hello?
That is a joke about Jason Todd, for those of you who do not know. I'm
No.
very sorry.
Oh no.
I didn't.
It's he was killed by telephone vote.
Yep.
I realized afterward that sounded random. So I promise you I am making an established joke. I am very sorry.
I am very sorry, and also I am very pop culture.
You just made me think of fucking Jason Todd
Tia.
and I got sad. What?
Describe for me the moment that Tia realized she was stuck on that island where the group met her. When she got left. Because she wanted to help more.
I think she was really proud of herself in that moment before she realized. So there's this high of like euphoria and she's tired, but and her muscles are sore, but it's the good kind of sore where you've accomplished something. And she's probably a little banged up and bruised, but it's fine. And as she goes back to where transport ship was, and there's nothing there, and it's just quiet, and only thing around is just wind and maybe some grass and like the little clearing, maybe some broken branches. I think that for that moment, she felt a bit like she deserved this. A bit like this is just a bit of karma catching up to her. What else could she have expected? Other than this? Because, I mean, did she deserve this technically? No. But can she blame them for leaving her? She really can't. So she kind of feels a bit hollow. And that euphoria of doing good is just drowned out by just a bunch of guilt of all that she's done. And she just has this feeling of it doesn't matter how much good she does, she still hurts people.
You crash through that scene and are flooded with Tia's feelings and emotions, and you see her turn away from this empty spot on the beach back towards this camp full of soldiers and see the almost kind of crushing of the emotions on her face before she paints on that smile, puts on the mask, continues on, and right as you start to feel like you're right side up again, like you're grasping onto something, you lose your balance again and fall by Alexa.
Hello.
Describe to me one of the last turning in and well, not turning in, finishing one of her last bounties. One that was hard fought, hard won.
Great. Great bit. I didn't prepare lore for her previous.
Make it up.
Improv.
Improv.
Her and these May were in the woods. It's been 2 weeks, but they've been tracking this motherfucker down. We got a droid bomber that needs to go down, man. It was gruesome. He had a whole army, but we did it.
How does Vialexa feel in this moment?
Elated. And in dire of a bath. We don't talk about the incident.
You see Vialexa standing over this now shut down droid. May's head popping around a corner. You feel the bone deep soreness of what you can only imagine was a very long fight and a very long period of tracking. And the high of winning just starting to chip off as Vilexa has one of those not so fun moments of grinning, kind of punching the air, looking at May with this expression of like, we did it, we got it, and then has the moment of like, what's that? That's me. That's what that smell is. That's gross.
Much.
Not breaking the high, but curbing it just a little bit. And Kane,
Oh.
how does Kane feel first time that if he lets him talk about his movies?
Oh, like the first time that he had a movie night or suggested it or whatever?
Yes, and she actually agreed.
He would have the same sort of like giddy enjoyment of like getting to share this special interest. Like it is something that he had only privately been able to indulge in, which is not really like the most fun way to consume movies. Like most of the time people watch movies with their friends, and I imagine that's probably what he did at the Jedi Temple. So him first off feeling comfortable enough to ask if he like, hey, I would love to watch this movie with you, it'd be fun. And then if he agreeing to it, it would be like a milestone, like a friendship milestone.
What type of movie did he show her the very first time she agreed to a movie night?
Oh, that's hard, but I think for Kane enjoys thrillers and like particularly political thriller style movies. Like the kind of movies that have intense conversations happening throughout and culminate in one big action sequence, or can culminate in that. And so he would watch some movie that is very much in that sort of vein of intense, like it's not a movie, but think of like a typical episode of Suits. Something like that.
You see feel this kind of rush of giddy and relief from Kane. See a moment where there's Iffy on the couch beside him, and they seem to, from what few words you get as you fall through this moment, be good-naturedly bickering about what they have just seen. That back and forth that, Kana, you are very familiar with on some level. And a empty bowl, partially empty bowl of popcorn in front of them. And the familiarity of Kane is almost enough to right you, and you see Iffy and you reach for that energy. Kira,
Yes.
what is Iffy feeling right now? Feeling specifically.
Oh, so many things. She's feeling so many things. She's confused. She's a little confused because it's not the primary feeling, but there's a bit of it for sure. Uh, she's confused and a little hurt that she didn't know about this sooner. Um, and that Tia did not feel safe enough to share this with her. She's determined. There's this feeling of like when you're forming something on an assembly line, when two things are machined to fit together perfectly, such that after you've machined them together, they can never be torn apart. That sort of determinedness is in her as she's trying to steel herself, because one of the other primary things she's feeling is fear. She's just afraid of whatever it is she's about to do, but she's very determined to see it through. She is a little lonely, and she's worried, uh, but she's also very hopeful. Um, it's that sort of feeling of, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be better, and we can sort through all of the pieces later. Um, why didn't she tell me it's okay? I'll fix it. That's what I do. I fix things. This is what I've always done. It's not any different than that. Um, I'm just being her hound. And I would say that's about what's on her head, is this determination, this fear, and this confident, like sort of confidence that she's trying to forge in the moment that this is going to work out.
As you reach for Iffy through Kane, you feel those emotions, those thoughts pass through you, Kana. And it is in many ways overwhelming. As Lissy has introduced Kana to telepathy. She has a telepathic connection with Kane. She has spoken telepathically with others in the Order. But it's never been Kana's strong suit of touching minds in that way. Of that level of connection. Though she can always skim the surface of people's thoughts to feel it, to empathize with it, to feel it to your very core. It's disorienting, especially when it's not what you were expecting, and as you feel Iffy's emotions rush through you, you are very abruptly brought out of your meditation as you fall out of the bed that you were on, having realized that you had actually moved, trying to follow that thread of the Force, and have instead tipped off of the bed. And Tia, you hear the very distinct clunk and clatter of something and somebody falling in the next room.
Uh-oh. Concern. Obviously, she's going to investigate. Please. Kana's conscious, right?
Yeah, Kana's conscious. Just
Okay.
probably a little
Right.
disoriented. Iris, you're
Okay.
muted.
Yeah, I was letting Amy go.
We say that during this vision, there is time for Tia to dye her hair?
It is setting right now.
Okay.
Back half of setting, but setting.
Mm.
And
Okay.
you have been going through the process of getting fussed at by Zavik. Thankfully, not about the bounty, at least not 100%, as you are helping him get the dye off of the fur on his hands.
It came with gloves.
Doesn't
She's not
mean
an animal.
that dye did not get on the fur on his
It's
hands and
real
wrists.
easy. It is so easy to get it on your wrist and like up to your elbows.
It's fine, you know. I imagine it took a lot of apologies.
I imagine, to some extent, a little bit of a relief for the kind of common, comfortable banter
Mm-hmm.
of
I
Zavik just
imagine
being
she has.
annoyed.
I imagine she has roped him in to dyeing her hair a lot. It's always been very crazy colors. The incident happened when the first time she went for pink. A long time ago.
But as soon as there's the thud and clatter, Zavik will also like peek his head around the doorway. And there's Kana in between the two beds on the ground.
Oh, immediate dive. Rush over.
I'm fine. Ow. Kind of rubbing her head a bit.
Connie, I think you should sit down on the bed and not fall off of it. What happened? Are you alright? Do you need water? I can get some for you.
I imagine she might have fallen on like the very tip of her Leiku, so she's like, ow, ow, kind of thing.
It's
Ooh.
very much ow and just a little bit of a headache.
Yeah.
Immediately.
She winces as she sits up, kind of looks at Tia, and just instantly gives Tia a tight hug.
Tia will hug back. Are you sure you're alright? You didn't get too hurt, did you? Do you need me to get you ice?
No,
Anything?
no, it's just a bit of a headache. I'm glad you're okay, and we're getting your hair done, so things will be safer. For you, of course.
How much bullshit is there, like percentage wise?
Hana's worried. That's the emotion.
Okay. We get another hug from Tia. She's careful not to smudge any of the dye on Kana.
Oh no, a little bit of black dye on the skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like pink. It's not like pink and black go well together or anything. It's an aesthetic for a reason. Yeah, no, Kana is ignoring like getting the dye on her. She's just straight up giving Tia a very tight hug.
Oh. I feel like Tia would try to wiggle away and just like, Connie, you're going to get dye on you.
I don't care.
You really should. I got a semi-permanent one. Or a permanent. I didn't really look at
Give a
it.
shit about getting fucking dye on her, but not on me. I see how it is. You just
I apologize to you. Do you want me to apologize again?
You just see him like turning back to the sink, and you just get like this hand wave through the doorway.
Hmm. Alright. What happened? You're not clumsy.
I just got a little too focused and trying to get a better read on the ambassador.
Did you find anything? Do you know where she is? Where she's gone? Is she alright?
I can't say anything for certain. Not really how the force works, but I think she's okay right now.
Right now?
That's the best I can offer you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Shit. Okay.
I did see something, though, and it might line up for something Kane told me. A place Kane told me about.
What did you see?
It it was a cantina. Really fancy place, actually. I think there was a shop next door. I think it would be. I mean, from what I saw, it seemed like a decent place that Iffy would go to, or the ambassador would go to.
Can I just call her Ivy, Connie?
It's it's improper. But anyways, I think maybe we should split up into groups and try looking at different places. Hang on. Hana has a plan here.
You can't split up much more than you already have.
Hana has a plan here. Maybe you should go with Zevik, and I'll go find Kane, and I'll check out another place that I might have seen. But if you guys can head to that cantina, I think that'd be a good bet. And whoever finds her first will contact the other. But I really don't think you should be alone.
I work best when I'm alone, Connie.
Like,
Yeah,
bullshit, you're going
please.
alone.
Thank you.
Savik,
Eh.
what? You can't. I didn't even say anything.
Eh.
It's dangerous to be around
Eh.
me.
It's okay. Whoa. It's dangerous to be around you, yet you want to stay on this mission. Which way is it, Tia?
Looks at Kana.
Hana crosses her arms over her chest.
There's a bit of nuance to the situation.
Bit of
No, I think
nuance,
it's
my
pretty clear.
ass.
I think it's pretty clear cut.
Is it?
Zavik
Fine.
walks out of the bathroom. Has also crossed his arms.
You can't spell to do
Leans
that.
down to be in your face, Tia. You have two options with me. Either I'm tagging along with you, or I'm taking you back to our little mud hopper and, well, you'll be perfectly safe back on the Delight, won't you?
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, then you stuck with me, ain't you? Glad we had this conversation. Pats on the shoulder.
Thanks, Zevik.
Fine. turns to Kana and like points a finger at Kana. But if you and Kane find Ivy first, don't lose her again.
You have my word. It
And
won't
don't leave
happen
him
again.
alone with her. I don't trust him to look after her anymore.
You won't leave my sight.
Good. Now, I think it's time for me to wash this out. And then we're leaving.
Yeah, that sounds good. I actually needed to talk to Sevik anyways, so it should be enough time, right?
I don't even have the time to be nosy anymore. Whatever. You two talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll be right back.
Savik just watches Tia go into the bathroom. Blake's slow turn towards Kana. A little head tilt. Confusion clear on his face.
Anna's going to be completely 100% honest with him because she completely lied to Tia.
There's so much trust in this group.
This is getting so dramatic. I love it.
Fucking
Fucking
Tia is
living.
a good bean. How's the one with the bounty on her the only fucking good bean in this fucking session?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Says the chronic liar.
I have been being very good. I am trying to find a missing woman.
And you hung up on Tia.
I just want to state for the record that I am the only one doing the actual mission
You know
right
what?
now.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Violexa gets the good bean award.
Yeah,
Good,
Violexa
thank
is
you.
the good bean.
Yeah,
Which
she's
is
a good
not
bean.
not the phrase I thought I was going to say, but Violexa is the
She gets a good bean award. Anyway, continue, please.
Sevik, I saw her get shot. Not just a glancing shot, but straight to the chest. I'm going to give you a couple places to go to, but it's not where the ambassador. It's not where I saw the ambassador. I didn't even see the ambassador where she was going, to be honest. But please, keep her safe. And let me keep her out of this.
Zavik, you say she gets shot, and you see the slow intake of breath, and as you keep talking, a very slow exhale. And he is still and quiet for a moment before you get a single nod. Well, I didn't think I was going to have to be taking care of her like one of my clients, but I'll manage it. You You don't have to worry about her if I'm around at the very least. If I let her get shot and I knew about it, then, oh, pretty sure Shiska would turn my hide into her next bedding.
Yeah, that's if you're lucky.
There's just a little, like, snort and shake of the head. And, this, ambassador that you guys are all up in arms about. Is this an important ambassador, or...
Important to Tia.
He just... there's an expression that's hard to read on his face. You can kind of see his like lips kind of pressed together. Well, okay. How much of a bomb am I expecting to be unleashed on this port here in the next 3 or 4 hours?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you.
All right then. Well, I'll keep her running some circles, but you know I'm not going to be able to distract her for too long.
I know, but
He just nods and kind of straightens up and shifts and motions towards the door. Well, you better start running then.
keep me posted. And thanks again. Still head out?
All right. And that's where we are going to pause for tonight. We're going to pick up next session with the Vialexa doing the main storyline mission. And after Vialexa, we will shift over to Iffy for a little bit.
What a
Can't believe we had a
session.
whole session about trying to find each other.
Don't
What a
you
session.
know, you never split the party.